So, have you ever stopped to think about this? Why is it that the biggest, most life-changing opportunities, they almost always seem to come from people you barely even know? It's a weird thought, right? Well, that's the exact question at the heart of this totally revolutionary idea from a sociologist named Mark Granovetter. It's called the strength of weak ties. And trust me, it's a theory that completely flips everything we think we know about our relationships. It turns out the people on the very edges of our lives, they might just be the most important ones. Okay, so let's start with what feels like a total paradox. I want you to think about the last great opportunity you heard about. You know, a dream job, the perfect apartment, a really cool project. Now, where did that tip come from? I'll bet you it wasn't from your best friend or your mom or your brother. It was probably like a friend of a friend, right? Or maybe that colleague you worked with 3 years ago. So, what's going on here? Why does it work that way? All right, let's make this super personal. Let's say you are looking for a new job right now. You've got two people you can ask for leads. The question is simple. Who's more likely to give you some juicy new info, something you haven't heard before? Okay, so on one hand, you've got your close friend. They're totally invested, super motivated to help you out. And on the other hand, a distant acquaintance, maybe someone you met like once at a party. Now, the obvious answer is your close friend, right? I mean, of course, they care more. But, and this is the kicker, Granovetter's research showed it's the complete opposite. It's that distant acquaintance who actually holds the key. And the reason why? Well, it all comes down to how our social world is structured. And that brings us right to the core ideas of this whole theory. See, Granovetter basically maps out our entire social universe by looking at the strength of our connections, or what he calls our ties. So what does he even mean by the strength of a relationship? How do you measure that? Well, it's not just one thing. Granovetter said it's actually a mix of 4 key ingredients. How much time you spend together, the emotional intensity of the friendship, the intimacy or trust, and all those reciprocal favors you do for each other. A strong tie, that's going to be high on all 4. A weak tie, not so much. And this is where you can really see the difference in the structure. Think about it. Your strong ties, your inner circle, your best buds, your family, they form this super dense, close-knit group where pretty much everyone knows everyone else. But your weak ties, they're out there living in totally different social worlds. And this leads to Granovetter's huge insight. The stronger the connection is between two people, the more their friend groups are just going to overlap. All right, so now we get to the big reveal, the main event. We're going to see exactly how this whole structure explains why those seemingly unimportant, weak connections are so darn powerful, and it all boils down to a really cool concept from network theory. Granovetter has this great name for it, the forbidden triad. And the idea is pretty simple, really. If you have a strong tie to person A and a strong tie to person B, it's almost a guarantee that A and B will eventually have a tie between them. I mean, think about it. It would just be too weird if they didn't. And that's why your inner circle is so dense. It also means that when it comes to new information, it's kind of redundant. You're all hearing the same stuff from the same people. So what gets you out of that bubble? A bridge. A bridge is a connection, a tie that is literally the only path between two totally separate social circles. It's the superhighway that lets new information, new ideas, new opportunities travel from one group to another. Without these bridges, everyone's just stuck in their own little bubble. Okay, so here it is, the crucial point of this entire theory. Because all your strong ties already know each other, they can never be a bridge. Think about it, there are always a dozen other ways for information to get around inside your close-knit group. Which means, get this, all bridges are weak ties, every single one. By their very definition, they have to be. They are the connections that link you to completely new parts of the social universe. That's where the new job info comes from. That's where the groundbreaking ideas are hiding. And hey, this isn't just some abstract academic theory. Granovetter actually put it to the test. So let's get into the evidence and see how this whole thing plays out in the real world. From something as personal as finding a job to something as big as organizing an entire community. So, to test his idea, he went out and did a study. He focused on a bunch of professionals, technical workers, and managers in a Boston suburb. And he asked them a really simple question. Hey, that new job you got, if you found it through a person you know, what was your relationship with them? And the results were absolutely stunning. No, really. Only about 17% of people got their job lead from a strong tie. someone they saw often. But check this out. A massive 55% heard about it from an occasional contact. And almost another 28% got it from someone they rarely saw. You do the math on that, that's over 83%. Over 83% of new jobs came through weak ties. We're talking old college friends, former colleagues, people on the very edge of their social lives. That right there is the power of a bridge in action. And this idea doesn't just work for individuals looking for jobs. It scales up to entire communities. Granovetter told this great story comparing two Boston neighborhoods that were both facing a major threat. The first, the West End, was full of these really tight-knit family circles, but there were almost no connections between the circles. It was totally fragmented, and they just couldn't get organized. But the other neighborhood, Charlestown, was different. It had a ton of these bridging weak ties created through local clubs and organizations. And because of that, they successfully organized and fought back. Okay, so let's bring this all home. What's the big takeaway from all this? What does this actually mean for you and for me, and how we should be thinking about our own networks? You know, there's this one line from Granovetter's paper that just says it all. It's the central paradox of the whole thing. He wrote, "Strong ties, breeding local cohesion, lead to overall fragmentation." Just think about that for a second. The very thing that makes our close-knit groups feel so warm and cohesive, our strong ties, is the exact same thing that cuts them off from the rest of the world. So here's the bottom line. It's not that strong ties are bad and weak ties are good. Not at all. We absolutely need both. Our strong ties, they give us comfort, trust, support. They're essential for our well-being. But our weak ties, they're our windows to the world. They're what give us access to newness, to opportunity. So a healthy social life isn't just about hunkering down with your inner circle. It's about understanding this hidden structure and recognizing the incredible power held by all those people you barely know. And that really just leaves us with one final question to chew on. Think about it. That old colleague you haven't spoken to in 5 years, that person you met for 10 minutes at a conference, they might just be the bridge to your next big thing. So take a look around your own social world. What hidden power is waiting in your network?